How is the self expressed? By the same means that an actor uses: mental attitude, emotion, voice, and body movement. The actor on stage tries to project a certain image or stereotype character. It is analogous that we as actors on the stage of life do the same thing. Some people are overly concerned with trying to project their own image. Such stereotypes may be due to the current advertising concepts and public relations. Whether we are conscious of it or not, each of us projects a certain image. Is it our own image that we are concerned with, our own interpretation of an image, or is it the image which we think others expect of us? Society requires labels and classifications for ease of identification, either in regard to profession or character traits. Professionally, we may be doctor, lawyer, or office worker, while personally, we may be labeled friendly and easygoing, in contrast to stern and difficult to know. Each label evokes a certain image. We are all familiar with the statement, "Man, know thyself." We should add to this, "Man, be thyself." It is impossible to display our whole personality at any given moment because we do not have it completely under our control at any one time. Contemporary living forces us to project an ideal personality consciously. We seek to represent ourselves in our social relations on the most favorable terms. We are constantly showing specific facets of our personality to different people. To our parents, we are always children. To our teacher, a student. To our employer, an employee. And in turn, parents to our children. Each of these roles demands that we use a special persona or mask, like those worn by actors in the classic Greek drama, who wore large, stylized masks to denote that they were portraying gods or superhuman beings. We all put on and take off several masks throughout each day. My challenge is this: is each image you project true to your inner self? Today, most actors use makeup to alter their appearance and choose facial expressions and bodily movement to express different character traits than their own. But we, who are not actors, should choose just as carefully those movements and facial gestures which allow our true self to be expressed. Professional actors are trained to be extremely observant. They must learn to watch, listen, and react to others by projecting their emotions through the use of their voice, posture, and gestures, thus creating a character that is acceptable to an audience. We too must make our character believable to our audience. We might approach this problem as an actor approaches his craft. There are two schools of acting. One is the intuitive emotional, popularly referred to as method acting. An actor uses the powers of recall through his memory and intuition to imaginatively create a character, using his own emotions as the foundation. In the final process, he eliminates gestures or vocal patterns which are overdone or false. Thus, he sharpens and brings into focus his characterization. This approach probably appeals to us more than the other school known as technical acting. Here the actor consciously starts his mental creation of a character by the use of a stereotype, purposely working on gestures, posture, and vocal inflections with the hope that in the end he can suggest the emotional content of the character. The most desired is a fusion of intuitional and technical acting. We should learn to think with our heart and feel with our mind by attempting to project a balanced, true image of ourselves. How can we as individuals learn to project a true image of ourselves? To begin with, take a long, honest look at yourself in your mental mirror. Close your eyes and observe your inner self and your outer personality with its different facets. What expression is on your face? Are you projecting sulkiness, worry, and bitterness? Or do you see calmness, strength, and serenity in your reflection? Do you slouch and project defeat? Or do you stand tall with confidence? Are your gestures jerky and uncertain, or relaxed and positive? Be honest and admit that you may be projecting weak traits of character or bad habits which you want to overcome. We should consciously examine the positive and negative aspects of our personality. Then, with careful discrimination, select and retain the positive expressions. To eliminate negative expressions requires that we replace each one with something positive. For example, a negative chronic complainer is usually characterized by a whiny nasal tone of voice, whereas an optimistic person has a pleasant, warm vocal tone. If your character really changes, it will be reflected in your attitude and your voice. When expressing yourself, it is more important how you speak, not just what you say. Enthusiasm for a given subject is projected with a positive vocal expression, which can be emphasized with erect posture and confident gestures. Thus, attention is captured and held. Non-enthusiasm can easily lead to boredom because of a hesitant tone, slumped posture, and meaningless gestures. We should be aware of our voice, posture, and gestures, for by their use we express our inner self to society through the channel of our personality. Thoughts have wings. Speech gives them life. Speech, therefore, can be considered the quintessence of thought and emotion. A clear, distinct voice with a pleasant tone is easy to listen to. When speaking, keep your words simple, easy to understand. Say what you mean, and mean what you say. Variety can be achieved by changing the rate at which you speak. A good vocabulary with emotional meaning behind what you say gives glitter to otherwise dull conversation. A few well-chosen gestures can underscore whatever you say. Remember, good posture suggests alertness, assurance, and youth. Entertainers use certain techniques of expression which, when used by individuals, become negative problems. Let us examine some of these. When actors imitate, they copy or give an impression of a famous person. Mimic is a more precise word. In mimicking, they copy the voice, gesture, and mannerisms of someone else, in jest or ridicule, for the purpose of entertainment. This is fine for professional actors, but not for individuals. Unfortunately, too many of us imitate other people, usually unconsciously, and we may be ridiculed behind our backs for being artificial in our self-expression. Mr. X, who has a moderate rate of speed in his vocal patterns and inflections, yearns to project the kind of vocal image Mr. Y does, with his clipped speech and faster speed. Consequently, Mr. X imitates the speech patterns of Mr. Y. Friends of both who realize what is happening will doubtless ridicule Mr. X for his imitation. How much better it would be for Mr. X if he would be aware of his own natural voice, try to improve it, and project an image of his own. What is correct for someone else may not necessarily reflect our true self. Still another type of self-expression is impersonation. The dictionary defines impersonation, quote, to act as another individual or character, end quote. Here again, it is similar to imitating. This is used by actors on stage, television, and motion pictures. Ralph Bellamy, the actor in the play and film Sunrise at Campobello, went to great lengths to accomplish an impersonation of the late President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Mr. Bellamy made a careful study of recordings, films, and written speeches of the late president in order to copy his voice and manner. In fact, he almost assumed another personality. We as individuals do not want to be carbon copies of someone else. It is proper to admire the philosophy or ideals of another person, but when expressing them, be yourself. During the process of reshaping our personality by improving our image, we should be aware that each of us has our own individual rhythm. We each speak, move, and live at a certain rate that is comfortable to us. When we are involved emotionally, this rate changes. Anger can quicken the rhythm of our voice and movement to a staccato tempo. Romantic involvement can soften and retard it to a legato tempo. In conjunction with discovering our personal rhythm, we must also be aware that we are our own director. A director achieves variety within a play by a contrast of rhythm between actors and varying the tempo of different scenes. In a play, the playwright has selected the words, but the director guides the movement and the actors give emotional depth to the creation of the play. The director guides the actors through time and space on stage by presenting a series of living, moving pictures unfolding before us. The drama develops before us as though it were happening at the present moment and for the first time. Drama creates virtual life on the stage, and its aim is destiny, what has happened and what is yet to come. Thus, drama has life. Life, too, can be literally dramatic. We as actors on life's stage write our own script, and most of this very impromptu. We supply our own movements and emotions, attempting to make our gestures meaningful. We must learn to understand and direct our emotions. Remember, the inner self is using the outer personality as a channel for expression. The two must be made compatible. In so doing, we as individuals become playwright, director, and actor. Actually, some people act more in real life than when they are on a stage. The German critic Peter Richard Roden said, quote, "What distinguishes a character on stage from a real person? Obviously, the fact that the former stands before us as a fully articulated whole. Our fellow men we always perceive only in fragmentary fashion, and our power of self-observation is usually reduced by vanity and cupidity to zero. What we call dramatic illusion, therefore, is the paradoxical phenomenon that we know more about the mental processes of a Hamlet than about our own inner life. For the poet-actor Shakespeare shows not only the deed, but also the motives, and indeed more perfectly than we ever see them together in actual life." End quote. We have the ability and opportunity to reshape our personality to that ideal which we consider our best. We can achieve whatever we desire if there is a sufficient interest and motivation. Our expression of self can be modified first by directing our thoughts to a higher level of consciousness, and second, by using physical modes of expression. We must contact the inner self and decide which aspects of our personality should be developed, and project these to our associates, friends, and family. The outward manifestation is a result of what we think, say, and do. For this reason, it is up to us to overcome whatever is negative in our personality and learn to accept the things we cannot change. We must be extremely cautious of what we think, say, and do by discriminating against what may be an expression of the negative shadow. The shadow is the weaker side of our personality, which contains all that we have suppressed into our unconscious. This shadow may erupt into our objective consciousness when we unduly criticize others of our own weaknesses. Thus, it is brought to our attention that we should be tolerant of negative personality problems of ourselves which we see reflected in other people. We cannot expect to recreate ourselves immediately. At best, it is a slow, arduous process. Patience, perseverance, and determination are all necessary to achieve a balanced personality, which should then lead to a dynamic, positive attitude towards life. An accumulation of your past is present in your personality at this moment. What you will be in the future depends upon your mode as expressed through your outer personality. The law of reversal is immutable. Whatever you release will be returned to you. The word drama comes from the Greek meaning to do or to act. It is up to you to take action by using these principles and techniques for your own self-expression. You should be aware of the objective channels of expression, such as voice, posture, and movement. We can only hope that 1 year from now you will look back, reflect on this moment, and realize that your personal drama of self-expression has brought about a positive improvement in your personality and character.